Hello everybody, Jamie the Board Game Man here, and today's episode is number 200. Who knew? Little more than 2 years ago, back in March 2020, I'd be doing episode 200, and still enjoying it just as much as I did my very first episode back in California. And here we go. Let's get right to this episode. This is one of my favorite games, and I was waiting for number 200, since it's a big number there, to show off one of my favorite games I've ever played. Of course, I have a lot of favorite games, a lot of games I really enjoy. This one is one I really enjoy. It is Ticket to Ride. This is the original one in USA. It has 2 to 5 players. It takes about 30 to 60 minutes to play, depending on how many players you have. And it's about 8 and up is the age group. And this came out in 2004. So it's the one that started it all, the USA map. I'm not really going to have to do any final thoughts on this because you already know I love this game. And I'm going to give it a thumbs up right now. I mean, I'm not even going to wait till the final thoughts because I'm not even going to give any because I absolutely love it. As you can see, I have many of the different versions behind me here. I think I have some up here as well, the smaller ones. And I have the dice expansion down below. It's a box, so I couldn't really put it up here. But I think I'm missing right now, at least the time of taping right now, I believe 4 of them. But I have all the rest. In fact, all these are still in their plastic. I haven't even opened them yet. But definitely, this is the one that started it all, like I said, back in 2004. Let's head on over to the Gamers Table, where I'm going to show you how to play Ticket to Ride USA. Alright, here we are at the gaming table, and here is Ticket to Ride USA. I'm going to go ahead and go over the components real quick, and then I'll go over the setup and show you how to play. So first and foremost, here is the map. You can see it's very long and gated. There's other versions that are actually up and down, but this one's actually left to right, and it has the USA map. They do have a couple cities that are in Canada as well. You also have Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, and then you also have Montreal over here. So there are just a little touch of Canada as well, which I thought was pretty cool too. You also have 5 sets of colored trains. There's 45 each of each color. Obviously it's 2 to 5 players. So you can have 5 different colors. They also, what's really cool, is they give you a little baggie to have 2, or actually I'm sorry, it's 3. 3 extra of each color, just in case you might lose 1 or 2 of them. They actually give you 3 of each extra color. So that's really nice. You want to keep these in the baggie. Hopefully you'll never have to use them, but you do have them at your disposal, just in case. You also have the score markers. So obviously these correspond to the colored trains that you have. And then you also have the train tickets, which have the different colored trains on the back. And you also have the destination tickets. They also give you a little reference card showing you the different ways of scoring, which is also down here as well. But just in case maybe you're over here on the other side, you can't quite see it, you can put this in front of you just to let you know. And then it also tells you how many colored cards of each that they have in the deck. You also have the Trans-America Express. This is a 10-point bonus card, and it's whoever has the most continuous train route. So what you'll do is you'll do the longest route, you'll count how many trains you have in it, and if you have the most, you get the 10 bonus points. And if there's a tie, then each one that tied gets the 10 points as well. So this is a card that stays face up by the board as well. And then once you do the final scoring, then this person will get that and they'll add it to their points. And that is the components of the game. Now let's go ahead and get the setup ready to go. Okay, so here is the setup. We're going to do a 2-player setup where you have the blue trains versus the black trains, okay? You're also going to go ahead and hand out 4 train cards to each player. So you're going to go ahead and take this. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, each player starts off with 4. Then you're also going to get the destination tickets and hand 3 off to each player. Let's start off. Okay, you're going to put this down here. And then you're going to go ahead and lay out 5 cards. So during the gameplay, this is where you're going to pull the cards from. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the top 5. You're going to lay them out just like so. And there you go. Now you'll see the colors of the trains correspond to the colors on the board. So for instance, you got the green train. This will allow you to build your trains on the green section, orange for the orange sections, yellow for the yellow section, and so on. You also have these multicolored trains that are wild. You can use these with any color combination that you want. let's just say you wanted to fulfill this 4 yellow. Well, all you would need is 3 yellow and 1 of these, and that would allow you to do it. You can use as many of these as long as you have 1 of that color. So you can't use 5 wilds to do this. You have to have at least 1 of the colors in order, and then you can use 4 wilds if you need to fulfill that. But you have at least 1 of those colors in order to do so. So each player is going to go ahead and take their 4 colors. They're going to look at their cards to see what they have, and then they're going to look at their destination tickets. These destination tickets give you points when you try to connect the cities together. Like, for instance, in this one, if you connect Vancouver and Santa Fe, you would get 13 points. And how you do that here in Vancouver, it doesn't have to be the most direct route, because obviously other trains will be on the boards, but it doesn't have to be pretty. As long as you connect Vancouver and make your way down to Santa Fe, you would get these points. The bad thing is when you choose to keep a ticket is if you do not complete that ticket, then you get minus those points at the end of the game. So you want to make sure, or try your best to make sure that when you keep a ticket, that you're really going to try to connect that ticket. Otherwise, it's minus the points that are on the card. So you also have, I have Winnipeg to Houston, and I have Winnipeg to Little Rock. So I have 3 of these I'm going for, and that was mine. And then what you're going to do is you're going to decide whether you want to keep all 3, or you're going to keep 2 of them. You have to keep at least 2 of these to start the game, all right? And discard 1 of them. Or you can, like I said, you can decide to keep all 3. So he's going to go ahead and decide, he's going to go ahead and get rid of 1 of these. And what you do when you get rid of 1 of these, you're going to put them on the bottom of the ticket stash, okay? And that's pretty much how the game starts. You're going to go ahead and look at your tickets, okay? You're going to decide whether you want to keep all 3 or keep at least 2 of them and discard 1. Then the game begins. So let's just say blue is the first player. What blue can do, there's 3 things you can do on your turn. You can draw 2 cards, you can draw tickets, or you can put your trains on the board. Those are the 3 options you have. Let's go with the first option. You want to grab 2 cards. What you can do is you can actually grab 1 off the top, or 2 off the top to bring your 2 and just grab blindly. Or if you want to, you can take 1 of the cards that are here. Let's just say I'm looking at what I got here, and I have, well, actually I have 3 blues and a green, okay? So what I can do, maybe I need a couple greens here. Maybe I want to see what I want to do here. So what I'll do is I'll take a green. Now, once you take a card from here and place it in your hand, you immediately replace it with another card, okay? Then you can choose a second card. At this point, you can still choose one of these down below, or you can choose one from the top if you desire. Let's just say I want another green. I'm going to try to connect some greens here, and this one automatically goes down like this, okay? And that is that. That would be your turn for drawing cards. If at any time, let's just say you're drawing cards, and 3 of them end up being wild, you would have to take all 5 of these cards and place them in the bottom of the stack and redistribute 5 new cards. So if any time you have 3 wilds in your stack over here, you just take them, place them in the bottom of the stack, and then you redo the 5 cards up here if you ever get 3 of these in a row. Now, if you are drawing cards, let's just say this is the deal here, this is what we got here, okay? Say you got your cards in your hand and you want to grab one of those wilds. If you grab a wild from here, just like this, that is the only card you're allowed to take. You cannot take 2 if you take 1 wild from here. Now, if you're lucky enough, if you draw one from here, okay, and if it's a wild, you do get to draw a second card because it's, hey, you got lucky, okay? And then you can go ahead and draw a second card if you so desire, okay? So that's the only time you can draw a second card after you get in a wild is if you draw it from here, okay? Now, let's go over the second, is tickets. When it comes to the tickets, on your turn, you can grab 3 of these tickets, okay? Say you've completed a couple of your tickets, you want a couple more tickets. You can draw 3 tickets, up to 3 tickets. Well, actually, you draw 3 tickets, but you have to keep at least 1 of them. You can keep all 3, you can keep 2, but when you draw tickets, you must keep at least 1 of these tickets. So that is another turn that you can use. And like I just said, you can place your trains on the board. This is how you would do that. I'm going to get these off the board here. There we go. Let's just say on my turn, I'm looking at my cards. There's my cards right here. And I want to go ahead and place some trains. So let's say I'm going to go, let's see what my tickets have here. I've got the Winnipeg to Houston, Winnipeg to Little Rock. Okay, Winnipeg to Houston. Let's see if I can do anything with those. Let's see. So we've got the, I almost forgot to tell you, these gray issues here. So you got yellow, orange, green. These gray ones, you can use any color you want, any color of the same train. So let's just say, for instance, I have 2 greens, okay? I can use these 2 greens to fulfill an area, as long as they're the 2 of the same color, okay? Any color you want. Obviously, you probably don't want to use wilds here because you can use any of these colors to use on these gray areas. These gray areas are kind of like wild. You can use any color of these. When you're placing trains, let's just say I wanted to place 3 greens, okay? Let's just say I wanted to take this area right here. Okay, here's New Orleans to Little Rock here. I'm going to go ahead and pull down my 3 greens here. I'm going to put them in a discard pile here, okay? And I'm going to lay 3 of my trains down on these greens. So I went ahead and took this route right here. You have to fulfill that route. Let's just say you had 3 orange. You can't just put 3 orange here and not complete the route. You must have the 4 in order to complete it, just like I had to have the 3 here. I can't just put 2 and go, okay, my next turn I'll fill that in. No. You must fulfill that area before you can lay down any trains in that area. And just like that, you have laid down your trains. Now, you get points for every train that you lay down on the board. Here is a score track right here that tells you how many points you get. I'll show you a close-up because we actually have that little card I told you at the beginning. Here is a scoring track. Now, you can see I just laid down 3 trains. Okay? So I laid down 3 trains. Okay, hopefully that focuses there. There we go. 3 trains, you would get 4 points. So what you do is you take the blue player, would put it on the 4. You move it up to 4 points because you put 3 trains. If you put 1 train, you get 1 point. 2 trains, you get 2. 4 trains, you get 7, and so on. So you want to keep track of that because sometimes when you're playing the game, sometimes you forget to move your score markers. So you want to make sure that when you lay them down, make sure you put that score right away. But at the end of the game, you can also count how many, okay, I put 3 here. And you can recalculate if you need to at the end of the game. Maybe you might have thought maybe you forgot because it is easy to do in this game. Okay, so that's how you would score there. And that would constitute a turn. Obviously, the person who has the most points at the end of the game wins. And then you have the longest train bonus, which I showed you here, which is worth 10 points. Okay, there's the longest train. So at the very end of the game, you're going to see how many trains you have in a row that are connected. If you have the most, you get 10 points. And like I said, over these areas here. These areas are very important. You'll see some of these areas. You have the single routes, okay, which is, you take that route and no one else can take that route. For these double ones, these are very important to know. If you're playing a 2 or 3 player game, let's just say I lay down 2 here. Maybe I lay down my 2 greens or something because these are gray, so they're kind of wild. You would take it just like this. Okay, you would take the one side. If it is a 2 to 3 player game, only 1 player can take that area. All right, that's it. No one can take this second route. Only on the 2 to 3 player game. If you have a 4 to 5 player game, then 2 players only are allowed to take over both those routes there. 1 player can take that, 1 player can take that side, and that is it in a 4 to 5 player game. 1 player cannot take both of these. You cannot do something like this. You cannot do that. 1 player cannot take both of them. And if you're in a 4 to 5 player game, I don't know really why you want to do that unless you want to be really vindictive and try to keep somebody from going through. But in a 2 to 3 player game, you don't need to do that because only 1 player can take those double routes. But in a 4 to 5, 2 players can actually take each one of those routes, and that is it. Okay, so let's hit the trigger of the end of the game. Let's just say the trains are out there, we're building our routes, and we come to me, and I go, oh, you know what, I need to finally finish this off, and I do 3 pinks, okay? So I'll go ahead and draw the 3 pinks. I'm going to put my trains out here. And I have 2 trains left in my arsenal. If 1 player goes to 2, 1, or no trains remaining, that triggers the end of the game. Every other player will have 1 last turn, including me. I get my last turn as well. As soon as I place that last train on there and I have 2 or less, then that's what triggers the end of the game. This player would do it. This player would have 1 play. This player would do it, and then I'd have 1 last turn. At that point, the game would end. And what you would do is you would make sure, as you were placing your trains down, to make sure that your points are correct on the score tracker. You're going to have your score tracker out there, okay? You're also going to add up all your tickets, all the ones that you've completed, you get points for, and you're going to add it on the score track. All the ones you did not complete, like say I didn't do Calgary and Salt Lake City, then, which would be really bad because Salt Lake City's like right here. That'd be a horrible one not to do. You would minus 7 points and you bring the score tracker back. And then also, of course, you would figure out who has the longest train, and that's when you'd get the 10-point bonus for the longest train. And at that point, you're going to figure out where all the score markers have been moving around, who is the winner. And like I said, if there's a tie, then you're going to look at whoever has the most tickets. And whoever has the most tickets would win the game. And if there's still a tie, then amongst those players that are still tied, whoever has the longest connected train would finally win the game. And of course, if there's still a tie after those three scenarios, it's got to be pretty rare. But you would deserve the shared victory if you were tied in all three of those sections. Of course, there, my friends, is Ticket to Ride. I hope you would let me know in the comments whether you have the game, if you've played the game, if you haven't played the game, and now you're interested in playing the game. I would love to hear it. Obviously, I don't have to do any final thoughts in this game because this game is awesome, awesome, awesome. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Ticket to Ride episode, and we'll see you next time very, very soon.